Dikeasune. Dikeasune. This is the Greek word for the word righteousness. Dikeasune. You can look this up anywhere. Everything I'm going to tell you, everything we're going to look at, I am simply looking it up, which you can do, so you can verify everything I am saying, everything I am showing you. You can look it up. I am merely looking it up and showing it to you here because it is so astounding what you are going to see as we explore this word. And by the way, in Hebrew, this same word is tzedek, as in Melchizedek, which means king of righteousness. Melchizedek, if you're from religion, I don't have to express Melchizedek. If you're not from religion, let me explain Melchizedek, the king of righteousness. Long ago, in the land of Ur of the Chaldees, there was a man named Abram. We know him as Abraham. Abram was called by the creative force. In the Bible, we call that God with a big G, not the gods. The gods are part of what is ruled by God with a big G. And God tells Abraham, take your stuff and take a group of people and take your wife and go to this place I'm going to show you. Just do it. It'll be okay. So, because Abram was the son of a high priest of one of the gods, small g, in Ur, he was no stranger to the spirit world, not even in the slightest. He was being trained up in the spirit world. He understood it quite well. This was no mistake. God is not stupid and just pick somebody that doesn't know anything. God knows exactly what God is doing. Because it is the creative force. It is behind all creation. That one system that is creation. So God tells Abram, hey, look, take your wife and take your people, the small little group, and take your stuff and go where I'm going to show you. And he ends up in this place called Salem. Now we think of it as Jerusalem, but it was Salem. Now, he meets this king. There's a king there. You know, the Bible describes this king as just coming out of nowhere. Literally coming out of nowhere. Like this guy wasn't born like the rest of us. And he didn't die like the rest of us. He was the king of righteousness. That was his name, Melchizedek. Melchizedek. So when you hear the word Melchizedek, just know in the Hebrew, tzedek is the word for righteousness. This is important to our understanding. Very important to our understanding. I am going to kick this whole thing off by reading from the Bible. And I'm going to read from the book of Matthew. And I'm going to read from the 6th chapter. And I'm going to read verses 33 and 34. And this is the King James Version. Okay, but before I jump into that, verse 33 and 34, let me set this up for you. Actually, I'm just going to read verse 33, but let me set this up for you. This is Christ telling a story. He's talking to this group of people that are learning from him because he's a rabbi, or thought of as a rabbi anyway. He's telling these people stuff, and he's actually talking about the system of creation. He's telling them things. Now, if you actually have a Bible, I would suggest that you actually read chapter 6, or at least the second half of the chapter, so you can understand how he's setting this up and what's going on here. Because he's actually explaining this system. This is the creation system. He's explaining the creation system. And he's telling people, hey, man, don't freak out. Don't worry. You know, things are just going to come to you if you just, when and if you begin to understand that you're dealing in another system. You're dealing in the system of righteousness. This is what I'm telling you. This is what he's saying. This is what I'm telling you. I'm telling you about the system of righteousness. I'm telling you about the system of creation. This is how this planet works. And in this dialogue of chapter 6, he goes on explaining this to the people. And inside the explaining, there's another verse in there, and I'm sure you've heard this because they use this term out in the world. No man can serve two masters. You'll either really cling to the one or you're going to hate the other one. That very important idea is in there. But it's all part of him explaining the setup of creation and how creation is in fact part of the righteousness system. And then when I read verse 33 to you, again Matthew 6, when I read verse 33 to you, hopefully you have read that part, because if I read it's going to take a long time. I'm going to stop and make everything clear, and that's rather lengthy, okay? So I'm just going to urge you to read this for yourself, but when I get to 33 I'm going to read it. So here it is, Matthew 6 and verse 33. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all other things will be added unto you. Now, that is the end of the scripture. That is the end of the verse, rather. Now, as I said, especially when you're reading these red words, you really do yourself a favor, because this is for your understanding. This is for you. It's not, we're not in the business of preaching sermons. I don't think you're in that business anyway. We're in the business of, let's dig up the real truth here, because we live in a very bad time, and the planet it's not going right, and too many things are just wrong, and we need to look at them and understand. We need to be empowered. We need to be imbibed. We need to be imbued. We need a lot of stuff. And these ideas here will get us that stuff that we need. All of us. We the people. We the people. So when you look at the words, really do seriously read those, at least up high into whatever verse you're looking at. Read before it and read after it. That helps so much. That helps so much. And to make sure people don't pull the wool over your eyes, so to speak, also. But it helps so much with you grasping and understanding, and it doesn't take but a couple of minutes, like literally a couple of minutes. That's it. You're just playing with a few paragraphs here, because you're trying to track down a thought and get the true meaning of a thought. And that thought is an empowering thing, especially as we are doing thoughts here. Very empowering thing. Let's create a contrast here. And in this contrast, what we want to see is the real serious swinging sides, so to speak, of what righteousness as is portrayed as in this moment of time, and what it is saying to you actually from the source. Okay, without anything added, without any special kind of agendas, without any special kind of dogmas or doctrines that, it has to wrap around, because it doesn't really need to wrap around anything. We need to wrap around it, that sort of thing. So let's do that. But let's take a look at how righteousness currently now is described, and what it has been reassigned to mean, because it fits a dialogue and it fits an agenda, and it's the same dialogue and the same agenda that's been going on for well over 1,000 years. It comes out of the church, but it has been transformed to fit an agenda. And we are going to look at that meaning of what the current theologians and what the current people that come out of the world of religion, this is the world I grew up in. I mean, I was grown up in this world, so, probably you were too. We understand what I'm saying. We all understand what I'm saying. So let's take a look at what the current meaning of this is, and then we're going to look at the expanded view, and we're going to open some scriptures, and we're going to look at this and weigh it up. And before we're through, we're going to see this for what its full weight and measure actually is. And when you see these two contrasted together, you're going to begin, like I said earlier, you're going to begin to wonder why. All right, so let's do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Strong's. I'm going to pull up a concordance. I'm going to go to Strong's, and then I'm going to click around there a little bit. Now, all of this is free online. Okay, so you can do this from anywhere you happen to be sitting. If you're listening on your phone, you can do it on your phone. If you're at your computer, you can do it at your computer. If you happen to have a library like I do, you can pull out old-fashioned books. I know it's kind of funny these days, but I still look through my books. I still do. I just do. So they still have relevance to me, although everything is moving away from that. They still do have relevance to me. That's why I say it. And I'm sure there's some people listening, not the majority, but some people listening that will see that point of view. But we're going to look under the heading of righteousness and see how it is described. Okay, we're going to do that right now. Okay, I'm going to read this verbatim to you. I'm actually getting it from the computer, believe it or not, and I'm going to read it verbatim because it's very important to understand what these thoughts and these ideas have been changed into. And here we go. In a broad sense, state of him who is as he ought to be. Righteousness, the condition acceptable to God. That's one. This is 1A. The doctrine concerning the way in which man may attain a state approved of God. This is 1B. Integrity, virtue, purity of life, rightness, correctness of thinking, feeling, and acting. This is 2. In the narrower sense, justice, or the virtue which gives each his due. So, as you can see from this, this term righteousness has been transformed into, well, are you good enough to be accepted by God? Are you good enough to be accepted by God? Is God going to like you? Is he going to, or it, whatever, is it going to approve of you? This is the meaning of righteousness in the current form. And as I'm going to explain things away, as I'm going to show you things, you're going to look at this and be shocked and dismayed as we continue through this talk, because this explanation is actually created by these church official doctrines. Now this goes way back to 400 AD. Okay, this goes way, way back in the church, and I want to get into details in this one. I'm probably going to do the details in some of the audio recordings under the heading of religion and spirituality. That is still to come, but there's a lot going on here, a lot to see, a great deal to see. There is religious chicanery afoot, and it has to do with some bending and twisting and assigning of meanings that really, this is not the full meaning. This is not the real true meaning of this word. This meaning has been skewed to fit established doctrine. This meaning has been transformed to fit the established agendas. Religio-politics, I used to call them. I should probably go back to that because that sums them up pretty well. All right. This is going to be the end of this piece, and we will go to the next piece now.